So I want to also talk about, or go back to DeFi, which you mentioned earlier, Raoul. And in last month's GMI, you also talked about a revolution in DeFi. You said that it's even possible that the Ethereum ecosystem in due course could be worth more than the Bitcoin ecosystem just due to the scalability of its application. Again, you say it doesn't compete with Bitcoin, it complements it.
Yeah,
so
people,
you want to talk more? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, people get in such a stew about this in their tribalism. I don't think of Ethereum as a currency. And I know the Ethereum 2.0 guys will say, well, it's going to be in scarcer supply. I just don't think that's its value proposition. And I don't think yet that Bitcoin's value proposition is the ecosystem. I think it's too valuable a collateral to do that with. I think its place will become as that pristine kind of foundational stone of this whole new financial system. Ethereum to me feels like a platform, a system, a layer. And so could that be worth more than the underlying? Of course it will. Because if you think the derivative market is worth a lot more than the underlying treasury market. So they're different things, but it's all part of this world. Much like central bank digital currencies are part of this world. Much like even private blockchains are part of this world. Everyone needs to get over this. They're all part of the same world. That doesn't take away from Bitcoin. They're not in competition. So if we look at it in market cap terms, we're looking at the wrong thing. So that's how I kind of think about it.
Mm-hmm. So Vijay, I would like to get your thoughts on DeFi and the role Ethereum might play, as it relates to Bitcoin in the future. Are they playing a zero-sum game here or not?
Well, this is the one area I think I probably differ with Raoul, and you can count me in the tribe for sure. I am deeply, deeply skeptical of Ethereum, and I work in the industry, and I'm exposed to hundreds of these altcoins. Most of them, honestly, are complete garbage. They're copycats. Ethereum is not that. It's not a copycat. It is trying to do something interesting. But I also think Ethereum is fundamentally flawed in that it's trying to bite off more than it can chew. It's trying to solve a problem in computer science that is an open question. To me, this is an experiment. Can you have a distributed database, a Turing-complete computer that can scale? I think the answer is no. I think this is essentially impossible. They're running the experiment right now and trying to see whether this is possible. But I think, ultimately they've been trying to do this for the last 5 years, figure out a way to scale Ethereum. And I have not seen any meaningful progress on this front. And as soon as you get any meaningful number of transactions on Ethereum, the whole thing is going to fall apart. Now, Bitcoin doesn't suffer from this problem because Bitcoin, I completely agree with Raoul, it's a collateral system, it's a monetary base, and ultimately it's going to be used for settlement between large financial institutions. I mean, that's not what it is now. It's mostly owned by retail, but zoom ahead 10, 20, 50 years into the future, it's going to be a means of settlement. And you don't need Bitcoin to scale in the same way that Ethereum needs to scale. The number of settlements that happen between financial institutions every day can easily be handled by the Bitcoin blockchain. Of course, you can't get every coffee payment on the Bitcoin blockchain. That's not what it's for. But settlement can happen. And if you need greater settlement than is available with the block space on Bitcoin, then you can always go to the Lightning Network and institutions can create payment channels between each other. I also think Ethereum is not a system that is going to attract major institutional investment because it really is too much of an experiment. I mean, Bitcoin's value proposition from my point of view is that it has a credible monetary policy. It has, and again, unlike Ethereum, Bitcoin has faced a real test about whether its monetary policy can be sustained with the 2017 network split. Would the market follow the legacy chain or not? If it didn't, if the market went with the new chain, the chain which said we're going to increase the block size, to me that completely blows out the value proposition of Bitcoin, which is that it's immutable and that you can trust the monetary policy. I have no trust whatsoever in Ethereum's monetary policy. I have no idea what they're going to do. They could decide that it's better to set the inflation rate to 10% a year because that makes it easier to do smart contracts. You have enough gas or whatever it is. I have a lot of problems with Ethereum. I think another one is, fairly significant is Vitalik Buterin is a systemic risk to Ethereum. I would never invest money in something where something bad happening to him, and I do not wish anything bad to happen to him. He's a smart kid, and I wish him all the success in the world. But he is a systemic risk. If something happens to him, that's going to be a huge blow to Ethereum. He's sort of this founding has this founding sage role in Ethereum, and he also helps direct development. The other thing I would say is that I think when Ethereum was put to the test, it failed. The DAO hack is an example where they said, we're going to roll back a payment that happened on Ethereum because we think it's harmful. That just completely shows that this system is not immutable. And if it's not immutable, then just use a database. Blockchains are inherently inefficient. You only use them when you're solving a problem of social scalability. If you're not solving a problem of social scalability, like rewriting the monetary system, it's just much more efficient to use a database. And I personally have not seen a good example where something built on Ethereum could not be done better with the database. You look at the history of Ethereum, you go back to what it was originally sort of marketed as a world computer, and then it was dApps, and then it was ICOs, and now it's DeFi. I sort of see this as a narrative chasing vehicle, and it's good at narrative chasing because it's Turing complete. You can do any kind of computation on it, which some people think is a good thing. It certainly makes it good for narrative chasing. But I look at the history of Ethereum, and I think this is something that has been responsible for massive capital destruction. You look at the developer time and investment in dApps, not a single one of them would have been in the top 100 on any app store. You look at ICOs, how much capital is completely blown up by ICOs. And now you look at DeFi. And my last comment about DeFi is that as soon as decentralized finance makes reference to something in the real world, whether it's a mortgage or a commodity market or something like that, the decentralization loses its value because states can come in and regulate those things very easily. So I don't think there is any value to decentralization. So I have a lot of problems. I'm summarizing all of these in any one of these things I could spend some time writing or talking about at greater length. But I am very skeptical of Ethereum. I think it's an experiment. I think from my perspective as a computer science, I think it's an experiment that will fail. It's an experiment which I don't think any of the brilliant computer scientists have managed to solve over the last 50 years. How do you scale a distributed database that needs consistency? It needs consistency because otherwise you lose capital. So I'm skeptical. This is honestly, with all respect to Raoul, because he's a brilliant thinker, and I think I agree with him on everything except this. I just don't see this working. I think I think DeFi is gonna fall apart again, just like the ICO craze did, and I think a lot of capital is going to be lost in this next bull market with the mania that comes with it.
This holiday season, give the gift of Bitcoin to your loved ones. Swan delivers your Bitcoin gift along with our world-class education and client service. Create a Bitcoin gift and wrap it with a custom message for your family and friends. Dash away with your gift. Your recipient will receive an email right away, that easy. Give the gift of generational wealth. Give Bitcoin.